Hello. Hello. On this glorious 80-degree day in New York. Hello. Hi, friends. How are you all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Woke Wednesday. You know the drill. Tell me how you guys are feeling in the chat box with an emoji. How are we feeling today? Hi, friends. Happy Woke Wednesday. Y'all, I'm in such a good mood, and I cannot wait to tell you all why. I mean, you know, right? Like, were any of you on Twitter last night at, let's say, 9:45, 10 o'clock? Let's see. You're saying you can't hear me. Hi, friends. Tell me, can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up and tell me that you can hear me. All right, so if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up because somebody just said that they couldn't. Okay, great. All right. I can hear you. Okay, great. All right, friends, I am ecstatic. I almost didn't sleep last night when news broke about AG Tish James, okay? Let me just start out by saying everybody give a round of fucking applause to a black woman getting the job done that other people won't ever get fucking done. Tish James and Cy Vance have been investigating Donald Trump's criminal ass organization since 2019. If you guys remember, last year, right? This stacked Supreme Court that Mitch McConnell thought that he stacked for Donald Trump, right? Like he held it for Republicans, and we have this 6-3 majority of Republican people on there, and they thought, oh, well, they're never gonna allow Donald Trump's taxes, right? They're gonna shut that shit down. Well, guess what? They did grant Cy Vance Donald Trump's taxes, and then guess what? Tish James and Cy Vance got together and yesterday said that they have moved this civil investigation into the Trump organization into what? A criminal investigation into the Trump organization. So here's the thing. Let me just say this. First of all, Donald Trump may in fact be the most prosecuted man, the most investigated man in the United States. Everyone has investigated him. The problem is that we have yet to see any fucking indictments, right? We keep hearing about investigations, we keep hearing about evidence being gathered, but we never, right? We never hear about indictments. Yesterday's announcement by Attorney General Tish James's office, for me, I don't know about you all, but for me, when I heard from civil to criminal, that means that those 8 years of taxes that the Supreme Court allowed for Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance Jr. to be able to use, and then remember, guess who else they interviewed? They was forced into having to sit down for an interview with the AG's office. Eric Trump, the COO of Trump Organization, right? So now, friends, we have this spectacular scenario where the investigators have not only gotten the bookkeeper who's been Donald Trump's bookkeeper for decades, right? So we know what that motherfucker's been doing. He's like a chef. He's been cooking those books for decades. So we have information from the bookkeeper, we have whatever the fuck Eric Trump said, and then we know that Donald Trump is loyal to no one. So eventually, all of these people are going to begin to turn on him, and the only people who are going to be saved are his fucking kids. So, friends, I don't want to get too excited, but I want to offer this. I think that we're almost there. I think that we're almost at a place where we are going to hear the word indictment. I think that Tish James and Cy Vance are doing their due diligence to make sure that they have an airtight case against Donald Trump and the Trump organization. Now, you may say to yourself, well, Danielle, what is this all about? Well, let me tell you. So Right now, we know that Donald Trump was lying, inflating how much money he was making. And then when he would secure loans from banks around the world, then he would deflate the amount of money that he was making so that he wouldn't have to pay taxes on that. Now, if you remember, right before he left office, we learned that Donald Trump had only paid $738 in taxes during 2 years that he was in office, right? So in the entirety of it, there were 2 years where Donald Trump is paying $738. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever paid only $738 something fucking dollars in taxes? I know I fucking haven't. I've been with my accountant for the past couple of weeks talking about, oh no. If Donald Trump ain't paying his fair share, I don't see why the rest of us need to be squeezed by the man. So here's the thing. It's like one of those mobster kind of movies where you want to get the bad guy for all of the murders that they've committed, because remind you, Donald Trump is still criminally liable for the over 500,000 Americans that he killed by saying that the coronavirus was a hoax, by telling people to inject bleach. And I'm hoping that at some point somebody will offer up a class action fucking lawsuit against Donald Trump and Mike Pence, because remember, Mike Pence was in charge of the coronavirus task force. And under his watch as head of the task force, they met, I think, maybe once a month, and I think that maybe it was staffed by fucking volunteers, okay? So we know that these motherfuckers are criminally liable, and I am waiting for the families of COVID-19 victims to get together and say, you know what? Had Donald Trump been the president of the United States, actually been a leader and warned people, told them to wear masks, said that social distancing was the thing, agreed with the CDC on the measures to be taken when COVID-19 hit the United States, and also didn't lie about it when he knew December 2019 how dangerous it was, but then continued to tell the rest of us that it wasn't dangerous, and then wanted to push one of his donors hydrochloroquine pills, which wasn't going to fucking work, but he gave him a contract for millions of dollars, and then they have some fucking, yard sale in order to give this out, which again, doesn't fucking work. Nonetheless, this is wonderful, wonderful news. Now, reports are saying in Politico and in other places that guess what? Mar-a-Lago is preparing for the day when the indictment comes down, because what are they going to do, folks? Mar-a-Lago is all tied to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is all tied to a whole bunch of shady shit. And if he goes down, you think that he's gonna go down silently? Oh, I don't think so. Nobody has held this motherfucker liable for a goddamn thing. It has been how long since Donald Trump left office? And we have seen none of his administration prosecuted. We have seen nobody indicted, nothing. Right? And we know that they broke the emoluments clause. Fucking Mueller gave us a 10-step goddamn plan as to all of the ways that he's obstructed justice, but because he was president of the United States, that they couldn't charge him, or rather they wouldn't charge him, right? Because there was no law stating that you can't charge a sitting president. It just wasn't gonna look good, right? So here we are. We have an investigation underway in Georgia. We have 2 investigations that have now combined into one in New York. We also have the Department of Justice investigating. Y'all, if I could have been a fly on the wall in Mar-a-Lago when the news broke, and the office of Tish James says that they notified Donald Trump and Trump associates that this decision was being made to move from a civil investigation into a criminal investigation, but we don't know when they got the notice. Hell, she could have sent that via text message 10 minutes before it was announced to the public. So my God, can you just imagine him screaming into the void because he can't fucking tweet, right? Because this would have been a prime tweeting moment. You know that Donald Trump would have gone ape shit on social media had he had the ability to do so. But apparently the only people continuing to hold Donald Trump accountable are social media tech giants. Everyone else is giving that motherfucker a pass, right? So today, yesterday, all of this news, it is making me feel, what's the word? Buoyant. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like bubbles, right, in a bottle of champagne. I'm just waiting for the word indictment to come down, and then, my God, folks, that day, we're gonna have a party on IG. We're gonna be doing the fucking most, okay? All right, so now let's get to the rest of the Republican Party and how a bunch of fucking spineless cowards they are and what kind of hypocrites they are. So what is his name? Let me pull up this fool's name. That's right. Representative Andrew Clyde from Georgia's 9th Congressional District. So this motherfucker, during a committee hearing about whether or not we're going to have the commission, the 1-6 commission, to investigate the insurrection that Republicans actually caused. So in America, apparently we are operating like we are a Mexican cartel, where we are allowing criminals to investigate themselves, right? Because that's what it is that we're doing. So here's the rope-a-dope that Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell tried to fucking pull. What they were hoping is that they would offer up all of these demands to Democrats, right? That they wanted joint subpoena power if we were going to do this 1-6 commission, that they wanted to have equal representation of Republicans and Democrats, right? Check, check, check. Democrats, as they usually do, fucking laid back and said, yes, you can have this. Yes, you can have that. Yes, you can have this. My assumption here, though, and I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because you know that I will ream out a Democrat just as well as a Republican, because, hey, if you ain't doing your fucking job, then you shouldn't have one, right? So here's the thing. Democrats capitulate to all of the things that Kevin McCarthy had Zucco, right, negotiate so that it could look like we were going to have a bipartisan commission. So he comes back and he says to McCarthy, they gave us everything that we wanted. They gave us everything that you said. They gave us everything that Mitch McConnell said. So we're going to move forward with this bipartisan 1-6 commission to investigate and ensure, right, that this overthrow of the government could never possibly happen again. Well, what do you all know that has happened? Kevin McCarthy, with his lying, cheating, sucking up ass to Donald Trump, has decided that he doesn't want the commission. And now him and Scalise right now are whipping votes and saying, do not vote yes on this commission. So how are you going to throw one of your own members under the bus who you gave the authority to negotiate with Democrats? Democrats come back and give you everything that you want, and then you turn around and say, oh no, we still aren't not coming to the table. So what they are making clear right now is that they weren't never going to come to the table. It didn't matter what Democrats were going to be offering them. They were never going to show up. Because here's the thing, and Liz Cheney said this over the weekend, and I think that people should, look into it. Remember that Kevin McCarthy made a phone call during the insurrection to Donald Trump, begging him to send help. Help, help, we need help. Oh my God, what the fuck are you doing over there in the White House? Donald Trump, meanwhile, is popping popcorn and watching the fucking insurrection that he started. So when asked, right, remember that Kevin McCarthy came right out after the insurrection along with Mitch McConnell and said that Donald Trump alone was responsible for the actions that took place on 1-6. Remember that. But then just a few days later, Kevin McCarthy was backtracking and doing his best contortionist act to go back and kiss Donald Trump's ass because he flies with the political winds. The man is so fucking vapid, right? So here's the thing now. You have members of the Republican Party that are like, so this was negotiated in good faith, and if we were actually going to look like we are pretending to function like a real government, then shouldn't we move forward with this? Because otherwise, what the fuck do you have to hide? Well, here walks in Liz Cheney on all of the fucking morning shows, and she says, I wonder why Kevin McCarthy doesn't want to move forward with this commission. Could it possibly be that more was said on that phone call to Donald Trump as people were trying to break into the Capitol building, killing a police officer and maiming hundreds of others? Could it be that Kevin McCarthy maybe has more information than he wants to reveal? So here's the question that I asked, and tomorrow if you're going to listen to Woke AF Daily, which you should, and you should subscribe at patreon.com/wokeaf, I have a conversation with MSNBC legal analyst Glenn Kirshner, and I ask him this question, because everybody knows I'm not a lawyer, right? But I watch a lot of Law and Order, so I feel like I have at least a bachelor's degree. So here's the thing. Why, if after 9/11, Congress got together to pass the Patriot Act, which allows them to spy on all of us. We gave up our civil liberties in the midst of being scared out of our mind of all of these terrorist attacks that were going to come, and we were shocked and shook. So we said, yeah, Congress, go ahead, do whatever it is that you need. If you want to listen to my cell phone conversation, you want to go on my social media, you want to do whatever it is that you need to keep me safe, please do that. So my question was then, why hasn't everybody's phone records and computers and anything that was inside of the Capitol building actually being used by the FBI? Why wasn't that information collected, or was it collected? Because here's the thing. We know, which I have written for Zora magazine, that the fucking call came from inside the House. We know that Republican House members were given recon fucking tours during the time before, the day before the insurrection. They're walking around and saying, look, here's Nancy Pelosi's unmarked office. Look, here's Whip Clyburn's unmarked office. Let me tell you, I worked on the Hill and worked on the Hill for a member of Congress, lobbied on the Hill for many years, and I get lost walking around the Capitol. That's why the Capitol Police are there. I'm like, I'm trying to go this way, that way. It's not an easy place to walk around. So you tell me how these podunk motherfuckers were able to not only find Nancy Pelosi's office, but put their feet up on it. How they were able to maneuver and find their way to the House floor. How they were able to find Clyburn's office and all of these other places. How they were able to find AOC and be banging on her door, right? Because Republicans were doing the fucking recon work for the insurrectionists. So here's the thing. Of course, you wouldn't want folks to be investigating, to be doing any more due diligence about what the fuck was happening, right? Because you're going to lead those little breadcrumbs right back to you. Kevin McCarthy, Josh Hawley with his fucking fist up to the insurrectionists, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham's fucking lying ass. All of these people are complicit in trying to take down our government. That's the reality. And of course they don't want an investigation. Of course they don't want to have a commission of folks going in and figuring out what the fuck was going on. Because the question and the fingers are going to be pointed back at them. But of course, here in America, we're like, if you're white and you're male, you can of course be able to investigate yourself. You can commit crimes, then you can investigate the crimes, and then you can let yourself off. That's how it works. Because we all know that if the insurrectionists, those fucking terrorists, did not look how they looked, right? If they weren't given orders, the Capitol Police were told not to use force. The military, the Pentagon said, oh, we're not going to send the National Guard because it'll look bad. But they didn't think that it looked bad when they sent out the fucking police to stomp over peaceful protesters in front of Lafayette Park so Donald Trump could hold up a Bible he doesn't read in front of a church he doesn't attend. But they thought that that looked fucking good. But you don't want to send in help in order to help people who are barricading themselves on the House floor. So let me come back to Andrew Snyder, that stupid motherfucker, who during the committee hearing had the audacity to say, I don't know, like I feel that Republicans actually need to be evaluated mentally. Because the level of fucking gaslight that they are doing right now, I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I don't actually think so. So here's the thing. Andrew Snyder, he then says, there was no insurrection. What are you talking about? There was no insurrection. It was just a bunch of tourists that were walking around the Capitol building. It's the media. It's the left-wing media that's making much to do about nothing. What? That is the version of don't believe your lying eyes, but believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. Sir, do you think that this is the 19th century and we don't have access to social media? We don't have access to video? We don't have access to TV or computers? Like, I'm so fucking confused about how far they think that they're going to be able to take this. Oh, there was no insurrection. Nothing to see here, folks. It was just the liberal media doing what? Their best Pixar? Right? Like it was Disney. It was a Disney production that was happening on 1/6, right? It wasn't a bunch of white domestic terrorist mobsters who were led astray by their fascist leader to go and commit some type of murder to build a guillotine to hang Mike Pence on the Capitol steps. No, we all fucking imagined that, right? So come to find out that this fucking Congressman Snyder, right? Pictures and video surface of this motherfucker using furniture from the House floor to barricade the doors. Why would you have to barricade the doors for tourists? Why would you look scared to death in then a next video that shows you standing behind a police officer with a gun drawn and you're looking like this? But again, there was nothing to see here, folks. Apparently everything was fine. Everything was good. We are all just lost in what? You know, here's the thing. Earth 1 ain't that fucking great right now, but Earth 2, where the fuck they are living, is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Honestly. So then today, so we'll find out, of course, that later today, there will be the commission, the 1/6 commission, will in fact pass the House because Democrats are in charge of the House, but now it's going to go over to the Senate. We need 10 Republicans in order to get the commission to start. I want folks to think about this for a minute. Do you know how long they investigated Benghazi? Republicans investigated Benghazi, which took place in 2012. Do you know how long they investigated? From 2012 until 2016. Do you know who went on Fox News during that time to say that the only reason that they were dragging out Benghazi, which if you remember, 4 Americans died, 4, not 400,000, 4. And they used all of our tax dollars and all of our fucking time in order to do what? Take down Hillary Clinton. Because they knew that Hillary Clinton was going to be running in 2016. So they figured that if they could draw out the Benghazi investigation and try and pin the tail on the wrong fucking donkey, that then they were going to be able to take her down. So they were willing to have Hillary Clinton testify for 11 hours in front of Congress. They were willing to do 4 years worth of investigations, right? 4 years worth of investigation into Benghazi. Fox News, you would have thought that Benghazi was in fucking Florida the way that they were going after it, right? So now we have an insurrection that happens where 5 people are killed, hundreds of Capitol Police officers are maimed, there are gunshots in glass in the Capitol building, motherfuckers with zip ties, cocktail bombs, right? All of this happened on their fucking watch, and they don't want an investigation into it because they think it would be duplicative. Motherfucker, what? Duplicative where? Huh? Excuse me? How in the entire fuck? And so if I'm Democrats, right, who are terrible at fucking messaging, I'm saying to myself, why don't you all bring up fucking Benghazi and talk about the fact that they wasted tax dollars, money, time. They had every week there was a committee hearing on Benghazi. We have been in power in Congress and in the executive branch since fucking mid-January. Ask me how many committee hearings we have been doing on the 1/6 insurrection. Now, Democrats will want to tell you, oh, we want to move forward. We have the business of the American people to deal with. Well, let me tell you, there is no other business that is more important than securing our fucking democracy. Because here's the thing, you can build as many motherfucking bridges and roads as you would like. You can give as many people tax breaks and child tax incentives and do all of those things. Very important. But if motherfuckers can't vote, and if our democracy falls, then all of that is moot and doesn't fucking matter, right? So here we are, where Mitch McConnell now is on the fence about whether or not he is going to tell Republicans in his party that they need to vote yes for the commission because he wants it to have a timeline. A timeline? Because Republicans don't want it to push up against midterm elections, which are in 2022. And I'm curious, to see how Democrats are going to react to that. What Schumer is going to say. Is he going to say, oh yeah, Mitch, we'll wrap this up, this very important investigation to see how and why and when and who knew about what was going to happen on 1/6 and who let their guard down and why, who was bribed, who made money, who didn't, who funded this. Let's all wrap it up in a nice tight bow so that you can go ahead and run a smear campaign against Democrats and say that we haven't been doing anything except pursuing Donald Trump. Get the entire fuck out of here. Because that would be my response if I were Schumer. I wouldn't even be having a conversation with Mitch McConnell because I would play back to Mitch McConnell every time he tried to fucking talk to me. And I'd say, remember when you were on the floor of the Senate pushing through Amy COVID Barrett, right, to the Supreme Court with 30 days to go until the new president came in and you said that you had absolute authority to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do? Get the fuck out of my face. You are dismissed, good sir. Sit down, right? But Democrats never do this. They never do it, ever. Everything is always wanting to seem like they have a clearer head, that they know what's right, and they're working on better. You know what I believe? I believe that they think better of the American people than they actually should, right? Because here's the thing, if you haven't realized, as we are moving through this vaccination process, that there is still a good swath of the country that is not going to get vaccinated. Not because they are afraid of what is in the vaccine, because once again, if you eat fucking Cheese Whiz, have drank any type of liquor, take any type of NyQuil, you don't know what the fuck is in any of those things either. But it didn't stop you from binging on it, did it? Didn't stop you from going through the drive-thru at McDonald's, did it? You don't know what the fuck is in that burger. It isn't even meat. So the fact is that Republicans have done so much damage, and we continue as a party to want to negotiate with terrorists. I keep thinking once again about 9/11. And, they want to call it the 9/11, stay a 9/11 style commission, but here's the thing. When 9/11 happened, it wasn't one of the political parties that gave aid and air traffic control and planes to the fucking Saudis that rammed into the World Trade Building. No, it wasn't. So how is it that you want to have a bipartisan commission with one political party who was clearly responsible for it? It makes no sense. It actually isn't the same as the 9/11 Commission, because for the 9/11 Commission, we were all on the same side, the side of America and the side of our democracy. With 1/6 insurrection, we are not all on the same side, and that is fucking evident, right? So why do you continue to appease terrorists? It makes no sense. And then not only do you continue to do that, but you don't even create an alternate narrative. You keep thinking that the American people they're gonna see through. No, they're not. 75 million of them voted for Donald Trump. You have the people in fucking Arizona who are using the taxpayer dollars in Arizona to go through and comb through once again the ballots there. They are using, folks, I gotta go over for 2 minutes here. They are using UV rays to look at the ballots. And do you know what the company is that's doing it? They're called Cyber Ninjas. They are a Trump outfit. And they are using their QAnon theories to direct how this investigation into Maricopa County's votes go. It is absolutely fucking batshit crazy. So crazy that the Republicans now in Arizona are like, so we've let this shit go on long enough. And we may want to start pulling it back, because this isn't just about Maricopa County. It is about Republicans when they do not like the outcome of any election and they haven't been able to suppress the vote enough. They are setting up a way for them to steal it outright in the open. And everybody fucking knows it. But let's all pretend that that's not what they're doing. Right? Let's all pretend that this is just about voter registration. We just got to register more people to vote. No, the fuck we don't. We have to stop the White Citizens Council, aka the Republican Party, from destroying this country. If you think for a second that this past election staved off our free fall into fascism, think again. Hundreds of voter suppression bills are out and have been approved. You have lawsuits that are still being thrown out of court because Republicans have no fucking merit. They are going to do everything that they can in order to destroy this country. So we can all whoosh and wait and hope for cooperation and this fallacy called bipartisanship, but it's not a thing. It's not a real thing. And everybody needs to wake the fuck up to that. Okay? Republicans don't care about America. They've never cared about America or Americans. What they care about is power and money. And Donald Trump is their fucking edifice that they pray to on a regular basis. My hope is that we see indictments come raining fucking down, and then Republicans have to scatter like fucking roaches and find a new fucking edifice to pray to. That's my hope. That is my prayer. But today, folks, let us rejoice. Let us rejoice and give a round of applause to A.G. Tish James for doing the goddamn thing, because let me tell you what, Donald Trump didn't go after anyone harder than he did women of color in power. And if it is a woman of color, a black woman that takes him down, I will know that there really is a God. I really will. I will know for certain, because that would be the fucking cherry on the shit sundae we've been forced to eat for the last 4 years. All right, dear friends, that is it for me today on this very good Woke Wednesday. I hope that you have cocktails, libations, all of the things to celebrate the fact that Donald Trump is being criminally investigated, the former president of the United States, criminally investigated, because he is what? A fucking criminal. If you want more of me on a regular basis, then head over to patreon.com/wokeaf and subscribe, support independent Black voices, and show up. You get for $5, you get 5 one-hour shows each and every fucking week. I appreciate all of you. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the tweets. Until next time.